So as this year is wrapping up and we're getting ready to go into 2025, it's a perfect time to do a little bit of reflection on how the year went, what you want to accomplish in this next year, and create some great goals, vision, inspiration, intention for yourself, and dare I even say, maybe some resolutions. On this episode of the Movement is Medicine show, we're going to take a little bit of a dive into 2025 and wrapping up 2024 with some great insight into how the year went. Dr. Andy, welcome. It is our end of year, wrapping things up, getting ready for the next year. It's an exciting episode because we get to dream a little bit. We get to talk about the future. We get to reimagine what we want, because it always goes that some things this last year went according to plan and some things did not, right?
Absolutely. And it is the end of the year, and there's a fresh, brand new, clean year coming up. 2025, it's hard to imagine. And it's such a crush time of year, I think, for everybody, especially for some reason this year. I don't know, the holidays were too close together. Everyone is just crazy, right? But I still think it's so important to reflect on 2024 and then rewrite the book on 2024 for 2025. Like, how would you like to feel at the end of 2025? What story would you like to be writing about yourself, about your life, about your business, your family, your body, whatever it may be, but rewriting that and not putting caps on it. What are your true desires for 2025? What does that look like? So I think it's important to first take some time to reflect on the year and reflect on what you want to change.
Yeah, I think all of us set out when a fresh new year is on the horizon. I do think it is a little bit hard to think about until you get through Christmas usually, right?
Yeah,
so
true.
You get through Christmas. I think a lot of people are like, 2025, my goals right now are like, get this stuff that I need to get on my shopping list for people. And my goal is to not be in the mall on like Christmas Eve. Yeah. The worst hell that exists is Christmas shopping.
Reframe that, Barry.
Yeah,
because
it could be really fun. And it should be really. If you're going to be there, or if that happens to you,
enjoy it.
Reframe, make it awesome. Okay,
exactly.
Make it totally awesome. But yeah, so I think depending on when this podcast drops and you're listening to it, let's imagine Christmas is in the rear view, New Year's Eve is on the immediate horizon, and you're thinking a little bit about year in review and the year ahead. And I think that oftentimes when we're doing a year in review, there's some themes that emerge. And I would encourage you to capture those themes on paper. So one of the things that I would throw in the mix is when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to envisioning, and when it comes to pulling out some of the key insights from your experience of the last year, writing those down can be really helpful, or using the computer. This could be a Word doc. You don't have to have a journal, but capturing them. What are the major themes from this last year? That's a great place to start, because that will naturally lead you then into what do you want to be different, or how do you want to expand on those or grow those, or maybe do something totally different in the year ahead.
Yeah, that could even open up the door to seeing, hey, what are my triggers or hot buttons? Because when you really look at your year and see what went great and what didn't, and where your blocks were, perhaps is a good way to think about it, is what are my triggers, and maybe where do I have to dive deeper on those things, stop me, block me, made me change my direction, or not achieve the goals I wanted to in 2024, right? I think the other thing that's really important, maybe especially for women, because we're exceptionally hard on ourselves. We don't tend to take the time we need to celebrate our wins through the year. We just plow forward. We have so much to do. We have families to look after. We have guilt. We're just in this busy, busy, busy life, right? And we tend to be exceptionally hard on ourselves. So taking time to, or maybe just being kind to yourself when you were setting these goals, really recognizing where we're at, why we're here, why we think we're here anyway, and how do we gently course correct without being, you're fat and ugly in the mirror type of thing. Like women are so hard on themselves.
It's true. I do think women who are coming into it, oftentimes they have this maternal caregiving role, multiple roles oftentimes in their life, that I think naturally causes them then to think of all the stuff that needs to happen, all like the lists, the bills, the this thing, that thing, the kids, the partners, the work stuff, projects around the house, pets, all the stuff, right? And that all that can be a lot of stress, a lot of overwhelm, and I think removes the emphasis from you focusing on you. So I would say, oxygen to yourself first. It's the old airplanes going down. Put your own air mask on first. So this is a great time of year to think about, what do you need? What are your needs? How do you feel? Where are you at? What's the level of meaning and purpose you feel in your life, your level of health, your level of satisfaction? And there's a lot of different ways to slice and dice our lives. We can do something like a classic, my primary relationships, my romantic relationship if you're in one, your parental type relationships if you have kids. You can look at your familial relationships with family members. That's always a place to start. Looking at those relationships, you can look at your professional career. You can look at your health. You can look at deeper questions around purpose, meaning, spirit, connection, all these different ways that you can look at your life. And so if you want to go down all those, great. Or if there's just one or two that are really calling to you that were part of that theme for this last year, or part of what's calling to you for this next year, I just start there and capture some of your thoughts. Your deeper question, Annie, that you were bringing up, are there things I dealt with this year that I've been maybe dealing with for years that maybe I'm ready to look at through a different lens and I'm ready to move past what I experienced this year? If there was a limitation or something that you felt was a trigger that, again, came up another year, sometimes those can be really hard conversations to have with ourselves. But if we approach it from a spirit of love, self-awareness, self-worth, like you're worth asking these questions, self-validation, you have everything inside you to have the kind of life that you want to have, and bringing that type of self-care to these questions, it can make the whole process way less about what you didn't do or failing, and more about the possibility you have to really grow into yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And just recognize that good things are coming to you, setting that positive outcome. It's so important, and we're trying to remove some of those blocks. I think people think New Year's resolutions are just about getting thin and strong and fit and eating right. Everyone wants to go on a diet and work out like crazy. But some of these underlying things that we're discussing loosely are perhaps foundational as to why you haven't been successful before, right? Maybe they're blocking why you haven't been consistent at the gym, or why you can't seem to eat right, or why you can't seem to lose your 10 pounds or start your online business, or whatever it may be that you're trying to do, but somehow you're not quite getting there. So it's an interesting thing to reflect on and try to identify why you're not getting there. I think it's really easy to overwhelm yourself as well, though. So as you're sorting through your thoughts, hopefully you have some time to do this, whether it's a hike or something in nature to help you move and reflect on what's going on. But I think picking a few to start with, like we're not going to change everything at once. Maybe there's a couple of things that you could write down, and those are the things that you're going to start working on actively, whether it's mind work, whether it's spirituality, whether it's relationships, whether it's fitness, food, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah, one way to take overwhelm and turn it into excitement is to recognize that the feeling of anxiety and the feeling of excitement from a body standpoint are actually pretty similar. And it's just the frame that we're using to look through it. So rather than say, oh my gosh, I have all these things I need to work on. I need to get better at my finances. I need to get better at my fitness. I need to do this. I need to be better mom, dad, husband, whatever. I need to be better for my family. I need to blah, blah, blah. Okay, stop. Let's instead frame it up to say, hey, I want to be excited about and intentional about how I want to grow this year and where I want to find fulfillment and meaning. And so out of all the things in my life, if I were to boil it down, sometimes you need to brain dump this, but if I was to boil it down, what are the 2-3 things this year that would be cool to focus in on, that really sound exciting, that do make my heart beat a little bit faster? Not out of anxiety, but out of excitement. And that's a great place to narrow your list down to know, where do I want to start? And for many of us, we're going to have a health goal. Oftentimes, we're going to have some kind of a professional or financial goal for many of us, whether that is making more money or expanding our business or getting into a new field or a new endeavor. And then I think it's also really good to have some kind of fun thing there too, whether that's connected to experiences you want to have, maybe travel you want to do, or deepening or transforming relationships in your life. But that's a good place, right? 2-3 things, 2-3 areas, and then allow your imagination to go wild.
Yeah, I love that. I think we can speak a little bit. My area of expertise is certainly health and fitness, where my expertise lies. And I think thinking about that where a lot of people are going to be focused on, right? This is a lot of people's goals. They want to get stronger, lose weight, they want to eat better, whatever it is. Generally that's in everyone's pot. And so I think that is also one where people are extremely hard on themselves. And they also don't really take a good calculation of where they're at. So people think they're still 25 and people are like unrealistic, right? So you got to take an accountability of where you're at with your fitness, where you're at with your health, your age, all these things, like to make a realistic goal that you're not just going to fail at. Because failing is, it like just brings the house down, right? You're just like, oh man, I messed up again. So I'm not gonna be able to do this. Pull the plug on it by January 15th. So I think too, thinking about health, I love thinking about adding things rather than taking it away. Everyone thinks, especially when it comes to food, they're just taking things away. Yes, there are some things you probably need to take away, but I like to think about adding, just even simply. I'm going to add vegetables to my plate. I'm going to eat 3 meals a day. I'm going to add more vegetables to my plate. I am going to hydrate, right? I'm going to hydrate, and I'm going to put a little bit of salt in your water, a little bit of Himalayan salt, a little bit of lemon, or you're going to add an electrolyte. So you're going to hydrate better. And the other foundational piece, I think, is sleeping. How am I going to sleep better? A lot of people can't. Most people have poor sleep. And that really messes with your ability to train, your ability to work well, to goal set.
Across the board.
Across the board. Sleep is so foundational. It's my personal struggle, so it's something I know a lot about, but it all ties together, right? So health, hydration, sleep, and then of course exercise, right? Exercise is on most people's list. Most people are unrealistic about it, or they think they're going to do it on their own. They're going to go back to weightlifting and they haven't weightlifted in 20 years. They're going to go, you have to think about where you're really at.
I would encourage everyone to start with health, because for all of us who've experienced a traumatic health upset, you realize, to use the old cliche, when you don't have health, you don't have anything. It's really true. I found myself this year back in the hospital, in the ER, and then admitted to the hospital on a number of occasions. And I'll tell you what, when you have an IV in your arm and you have sensors plastered to your chest and you're in the hospital and dealing with whatever condition you're dealing with, I hope you do not find yourself there, but if you have, you know what I'm talking about. It just puts things in perspective.
Really fast.
Like, it doesn't matter about money in your bank account. All this other stuff falls away when your health is threatened or challenged. Most of us, we're not in that crisis state all the time. And yet, what's happening when we're not actively engaging our health, our physical wellness, is we are actually invisibly progressing towards health crisis. In fact, I would make the argument, if we were to do your blood work, we would find a number of things that were quite alarming and that would be telling us, danger, you are on a track for bad things down the road. So I would encourage you, focus on health. If all this stuff, if everything else, you absolutely can make 2025 a year where your health becomes exceptional, regardless of your age, regardless of what physical challenges that you've had or have right now or health conditions. I believe that you do have the power with the right team to create the best version of yourself right now.
I agree. And I think the mind is really good at making up reasons why we can't get there. And that's why you need to keep it simple. You need to keep it achievable. And dare I say, you need help. You need a coach. You need support. Most of us do.
You need
accountability,
yes,
creativity in what you're doing with your fitness. And for you ladies out there, walking is great, but for a break, but it's not going to be what you need for your muscles and for ultimately for your fitness. So back to the old adage of you have to weight train. You have to resistance train. You have to do it. I know we're starting to sound like broken record here, aren't we?
We're going to beat this drum all year. No, but so the thing is that most people, when they dive into an attempt at fitness or health, in a lot of times people immediately think exercise and food, and that's right. It is exercise and food. But there's so many ways to do it right. We live in an information overload time. We all follow influencers, hot bods on the Instagram or TikTok or whatever. It's plastered in magazines and beamed into our eyeballs and our brains all the time. that tell you different things. And so like in a day, with a couple hours on Instagram, you could probably get 50 different programs,
Workouts and diet
diets,
plans
foods,
and
supplements, add-ons, do
Yeah.
this, don't do that, never make this mistake. All like
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. And it's just like, what is real? What do I do? Can't someone help me?
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
Yes, someone
we
can.
do actually know somebody who can help you.
Yeah, really, we talked about this a little bit on our last episode, but one of the fundamental pieces is to fix your body the best that it can be fixed. Like some of us have maybe some joints replaced or some surgeries that are always going to provide us with a certain amount of limitation, but your body is so resilient. Its ability to heal is profound. So get the help you need, whether it's chiropractic, massage, go see the naturopath, integrated health, whatever it is. Get your body moving well, get it out of pain, and then look at a reasonable fitness goal and get the help you need with that as well. So at our clinic, we have 2 programs for adults. We have Rebuild with chemo. This is an amazing program for those of you who are perhaps in a treatment plan or you're a little bit broken and you know it and you want to start off gently with someone who's an expert in rehab, and that is Chemo Cole at Head to Toe Spine and Sports Therapy. He's amazing. He completely rehabbed my knee after surgery, and now I'm skiing strong, and that's thanks to him. So that's a great place.
And I would say too with chemo, this is also great for those of you out there that are active, but who have reoccurring issues that might be movement or movement pattern related.
Yeah.
Chemo does work with a lot of professional sports athletes. So for people who are currently lifting and who want to make more progress or feel like you're always dealing with the same issues and you want to move out of an acute care state into a more aware state, chemo is also, I would just say, a really good resource for all those lifters out there, CrossFitters and endurance athletes, whatever your sport is. 6-8 sessions with chemo can be transformational.
Yeah, he can spot your patterns faster than most people can. And so most of us, after an injury or if we've just been lifting hard and playing life hard, we need some repatterning to either prevent injury, which is really what we're talking about here, is to reach your health goal, is to prevent an injury as you're out there training. Chemo is just, he's number one at doing that. It's great. He works alongside the doctors in my clinic. So we really are collaborative in getting you well, getting you strong. The other program we've built there, which I love, is called Build with Chrissy. And it's a program for women only. It's resistance weight training. It's the bomb. It's awesome. And Chrissy's actually running a promo, and we'll drop this information in the show notes. She's running a promo with our InBody, and the InBody is the absolute gold standard in body composition. So it's this scientific look at what is your body like, what's your muscle mass, what's your fat mass, what's your hydration like, what's your body fat percentage. So you really start with knowing exactly where you're at. So when the scale changes, you're more informed as to why. So we start with that. So right now she's doing a promo where you get 2 InBody scans for $35 and a consult with her. So you get just a ton of information as to where you're at. So whether you choose to train a head to toe or whether you choose to do your own thing, whatever, that's fine. But at least you know where you're starting from.
Yeah, and that's always, it's just great to be able to talk to somebody without worrying, without any obligation or worrying about, Chrissy's not there to sell you on anything. If you've never met Chrissy, she's basically like a fitness angel. Like she's
a fitness angel.
She's basically from heaven, and she's an incredible human being. She's a legend. She's an incredible human being. Just period. But then on top of that, if you're a woman who's looking to have a really comprehensive person who can bring multitude of experience to the table and help you really craft a program for yourself to get moving better, to get stronger, fitter, leaner, whatever your particular goals are, Chrissy is 100% the person I would recommend every single time without question in that scenario. Or if you've never lifted before and you're just looking, hey, I need help getting started, I would say, here's a way to fast track your success. It's working with Chrissy. So definitely take her up on that InBody, get that information as to where you are now, helps you inform where you want to go. And then Chrissy can talk to you about different options you should be thinking about, ways that she can help. But then you're informed what's out there.
Knowledge is power, as we always say, right? Fundamental stuff. What I'd love to see is some reflection on where you're at. What do you desire for 2025? What changes do you want to make? And if you need help with your health goals, we have great resources at my clinic. Our partners at Sage Integrative have great resources at their clinic if you're struggling with maybe some deeper health issues. But put that together, use the help we have here locally. The influencers don't know your body. YouTube doesn't know who you are, but we do.
Yeah, make those one-to-one real human connections to get the help that you need. And recognize, again, that you can be and feel your absolute best, your fittest, your happiest, your most centered, your healthiest right now in your life. You have the capacity to look and feel your absolute best. It's just about getting connected to the right programs, the right people, the right process to get you there, and to do so in a personalized, meaningful, individualized way. And we want to help you do that. So thanks for being with us. 2024 has been an awesome year. We're really excited about 2025. We have a ton of stuff happening at the clinic, ton of stuff to share, and we're grateful that you're on this journey with us.
Absolutely.
All right, have a happy new year, and we will chat with you on the next episode.